Do you want to come out quickly?
No.
Oh, okay.
What?
You want to say hi?
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Hey. Oh.
9,600 miles, 16 time zones. It's wild we're even able to do this now, but yeah.
You want to do a book with Uncle Al?
I got the book from
Oh, let's get it.
Do you want to show how you wrote?
Go show Uncle Al the book.
Oh, bingo! Louis already asleep.
People always ask what the biggest culture shock is. What's been really familiar? Like what in the US has been super familiar to you that's made you almost feel like, really at home here?
I'd say, being on a team, and I think having over 100 teammates and all the coaches, you're just always around such similar-minded people, all working towards the one goal. So I think you get a really good camaraderie being in a team environment, and I'd say that's pretty similar as being on a team back in Australia. So yeah, I think it's been really cool working with so many people, meeting so many people, and working towards that goal, and just going through all the ups and downs with them, and then just all the experiences, all the traveling, all the games. We all go to school, we're all living in Tallahassee. So that's been really cool to form those friendships and just have those shared experiences. And I think that's really similar for me than, like, if I was in Australia, it would be the same thing. So I think that mateship from playing on a team is really similar, and that hasn't changed too much, like the culture of sports and the friendships you create. I'd say that's the biggest similarity. We're just down in Melbourne this morning. I'm with Nathan Chapman, the OG. Punt session here and get some good work in. Chappy, any words to America, mate?
Great to have Mastro back. He's on loan. We'll just borrow him for a couple of days and we'll send him right back all ready to go.
Sounds good. Yeah, well, there's a lot of ex-footy players in Australia that go to it. So I guess for myself, I was playing high school football. Then I played in the VFL, which was like one below the AFL, and didn't really see myself progressing with that. So I looked at ProKick and thought, hey, I got a good kick on me. This is something I could develop and get really good at. So I joined ProKick, and like myself, there were a lot of other ex-footy players that knew how to kick. And obviously you got to learn the technique and learn a few different things about the game to help transition over from kicking an Australian football to punting in a American game. So a lot of us do have that football background, and it's why you see a lot of Aussies do the rugby rollout kick, or just a straight spiral. But we do have that leg strength just because we've been kicking a ball at the age of 5 the same way most Americans are throwing a baseball or a football around at the age of 5. So that's where we develop that.
So in Aussie rules, like, what does kicking do in the game? Is it how you score? Is it how you pass? Are there kickoffs? Like, walk me through kind of what kicking is to the Australian rules game.
Yeah, so the objective in AFL is to kick the ball through a set of goalposts. So the easiest way to explain this for Americans is to imagine a cricket field, because that's what an AFL game's played on, and there's uprights at either end of the field, and the objective's to punt the ball, and we just call that kicking. Like, we just say kick the ball, and the objective's to kick it through those uprights, and that's for 6 points. And pretty much you're kicking the ball in a game of AFL as a way to dispose it. So instead of throwing it, we kick it. And that can be any distance from 10 metres to 70 metres if you're having a shot on goal. So, yeah, the idea is to try go up towards whatever end you're kicking at and just kick the ball through the goals.
How cool has it been, one, to see the number of Aussies? I know you said you're close with was it Joey at TCU, Lou down at Miami? Like, y'all came over together. And I'm sure a few other Aussies that are over here, but how cool is it to also see just the greater influence y'all have had on the game, where now, like, fully American punters are implementing that rollout style punt. Is that kind of neat? Does that get talked about back home at all? Just the impact y'all have had on the American game?
Yeah, it's awesome. I know Lou set a record a couple of years ago with his punting, and he was pretty happy about that. And it's really cool to come over and be close with those guys and be able to go visit them in the off season and train with them and see how well they're doing now in their careers, and just to be able to experience it with them as well. It's really cool. We're all pretty similar in what we're doing. All the Aussies that come over here, we're all in the same boat. So I think to just have like the same stories, slightly tweaked, and just to be able to laugh and meet up and train with them, it's really enjoyable. And then I guess to see everyone do so well over here, that's really awesome as well. So
then from a punting perspective, like what just walk us through briefly, because I think like the condition of a football fan is like we all think we know a lot more than we do, but I'm kind of curious from someone who actually does it for a living, so to speak, right? Like what are the mechanics of a rollout punt? Like what does it do differently to the punt that, makes it harder for the return team, or at least adds a wrinkle to it? Like what's the difference between that and a straight spiral punt?
Yeah, there's a couple things. Like a straight spiral comes down in a certain way, so the returner knows how to catch that pretty easily, whereas with the rollout punt, you're running out to the side a bit, so I'll run out to my right side. It actually makes it harder to block for other teams because you're trying to block someone who's moving on the run, so everything's different. The launch point for me is different. Where they need to run to is different, so it's actually really hard to block and gives us a little bit more of an op time to get the kickoff and allow our gunners to get down the field, which is nice. And the way we do our rollout punts, we hold the ball end over end, and it makes it pretty tough for returners to be able to catch. So early on in my career, I think they muffed 4 or 5 punts, the returners, in games. And even last year, we had a couple muff punts from the opposition. So
That's always maybe in that first game,
that's always nice when that happens. Keeps the coaches happy and all the fans happy that don't really understand what's going on with these techniques. So it's really cool to be able to throw that into the punt bag and tricks I can do and make it difficult for returners to catch the balls as well. So with a spiral, you're taking those 2 or 3 steps and trying to kick the ball. You need to have a bit of a faster up time, and it's a bit more of a straighter kick. So they are completely different techniques. So it's pretty cool that I can do both of them and go into a game knowing I can just do whatever I'm called upon to do from my coaches.